Winning the MVP in the NBA is not easy, but for some players, it's as easy as ABC because they're just super athletic and physically dominant. From Wilt to MJ to LeBron to Westbrook and more recently Giannis, these are just some of the household names that have won the MVP, and some of them even won it multiple times simply because they hit the jackpot in the genetic lottery. But what if the basketball gods didn't turn out in your favor and didn't give you even an ounce of hops in your body? Do you still have the chance to win the MVP? Today I'll share with you some players who managed to win the MVP despite not being athletic enough. Speaking of which, the first player on the list can very much relate to most people because he's neither tall, strong, nor athletic. I'm talking about the guy who sang this famous song.
You're beautiful. You're beautiful.
That's my bad. But doesn't he look like someone who used to play for the Phoenix Suns? Of course, I'm referring to none other than the legendary 6'3" point guard who's currently calling the shots for the Brooklyn Nets from the sidelines, Steve Nash. It's actually quite weird that this MVP winner didn't like basketball until his teenage days. You see, Nash's father played as a professional football player and traveled to different parts of the globe back in the day. Though soccer and hockey were initially Nash's favorite sports, he only discovered his passion for hoops when he was around 12 or 13 years old. Having known a thing or two about soccer, Steve would incorporate the footwork drills that he learned from playing soccer into basketball, and the results were incredible. Fast forward several years later, his sudden shift from the field to the hardwood immediately paid off when he got drafted as the 15th overall pick by the Suns out of Santa Clara. In the NBA, Nash had to play second fiddle behind Jason Kidd and veteran point guard Kevin Johnson in the early goings of his career before he finally tasted success when he got traded to the Mavericks in 1998. After his three-way partnership with Michael Finley and Dirk didn't work out in Texas, Nash was like a package that was returned to sender as he was sent back home to Phoenix. But this time around, Nash was the main guy on the roster and didn't have to play backup to anyone anymore. Under the 7 seconds or less system of Mike D'Antoni, Nash spearheaded Phoenix's offense like a seasoned conductor that runs a well-oiled orchestra, creating a beautiful harmony of blinding fast breaks and quick buckets. He won back-to-back MVPs in 05 and 06, bringing Phoenix to the brink of finals appearances during the 2-year window where he averaged 18.7 points and 11.5 assists while shooting 44.7% from three and 91% from the free throw line. Although he got badly trucked by Robert Horry that sent him like a lifeless rag doll and had his nose bloodily broken, we can't deny the fact that Steve Nash is as tough as they come despite the clear lack of athletic bones in his body. You need more proof? Here's a video of him snapping back his nose like a complete gangsta. Moving on, just like Nash, this next dude wasn't athletic and also basketball was not his first option. But despite that, this guy was able to land on the shores of the NBA and win multiple MVPs as well. Tim Duncan grew up in the crystalline beaches of the Virginia Islands. He was raised in an athletic household that loved swimming. His siblings Cheryl and Trisha were both decorated swimmers, and Timmy followed the footsteps of his sisters as he grew up. But all that changed when Hurricane Hugo struck in 1989. After the hurricane destroyed his Olympic-sized pool, Duncan had no choice but to train in the vast ocean. But this idea did not pan out well since Duncan was too afraid to swim because of the sharks that roamed around the area. If you're going to ask me, that's a very wise decision because Timmy could have been an easy snack for them since the sharks can easily spot him due to his massive size. With no more body of water to flounder around himself, Duncan made his way up above the shore and shifted his focus to playing basketball. Though it is not nice to credit a natural catastrophe for someone's success, we have to thank Hurricane Hugo for giving Tim Duncan to the world of basketball. And don't forget about the sharks too, huh? Shark tornadoes? Sounds very familiar. Despite not being super athletic, Duncan thrived in basketball mainly because of his towering physique and his high basketball IQ that made basketball so easy for him. He made a solid impression over the U.S. Scouts and was eventually recruited into the Wake Forest University basketball program. After being the main guy for the Demon Deacons for 4 years, Coach Pop saw potential in Duncan to be a franchise-turning player, and he quickly drafted him in 1997 as the first overall pick for the Spurs. And guess what? 2 years later, the Spurs won their first championship as Duncan being the man behind the wheel. While everyone else is jumping out of the gym and playing above the rim, Duncan did damage in the most unattractive way.
Win at Houston and then at New Orleans a bit.
Well, that means
Green.
Oh, they've become content with just passing the ball around the horn.
Duncan gets the bucket here. Here's Timmy the other way.
Bank shots, short hooks, short stabs, and more bank shots. It's like seeing your 50-year-old uncle playing hoops in the YMCA or in a local rec gym. But hey, let's be honest, it worked. His boringly consistent output has given the Spurs 5 championships, and he bagged 2 MVPs along the way. So the next time you criticize Timmy's old man game, you better make sure that you can drill the bank shot first.
Okay, Tim Duncan's had about 100 game winners with that bad boy.
Honey, you watching me?
One of Timmy's fiercest rivals was Dirk Nowitzki, and just like Duncan, Dirk was one of those bigs that managed to win a chip and an MVP despite not having insane athleticism implanted in his DNA. Drafting unknown foreign prospects was not a big thing back then. In fact, this recruiting strategy was more frowned upon in some circles because everyone knows that American players have more hops and skills than the rest of the world. But back in 1998, Don Nelson did not care. The stubborn coach who devised the Nelly ball, or what I like to call the "we will outscore you and play no defense at all" offensive strategy, picked this lengthy 7-foot blonde-haired dude named Dirk Nowitzki as the 9th overall pick from the land where beer and bread are flourishing abundantly. If there's one vital requirement for you to be able to play under Nelson, then you must know how to shoot the ball. And this is why Nelson picked Dirk, simply because Dirk can shoot the lights out when he finds his groove. Before the term unicorn even existed in the basketball dictionary. No, I'm not talking about this type of unicorn. I'm talking about a different breed of big men who were well-rounded and skillful enough that they can take over games using tremendous versatility alone. Anyway, before the term unicorn was tagged to players like Joel Embiid, Kristaps Porzingis, and Giannis, let it be known that Dirk already did what these young guns are currently doing in the NBA. Yup, he made the original blonde unicorn before the term itself became cool. Standing at 7 feet, Dirk can pass, run the break, dribble, and most importantly, shoot the ball from anywhere around the court. He became the hometown hero for Dallas, and his patented one-legged fadeaway has also achieved legendary status, as you can see many players nowadays pulling their own version of Dirk's iconic move. Though Dirk got embarrassed in the 2007 playoffs when they got booted out by the We Believe Warriors, which happens to be a lineup coached by Don Nelson, he was hailed as the league MVP that year, averaging 24.6 points and 8.9 rebounds while shooting 41.6% from distance. After years of playoff disappointment after his MVP season, Dirk finally won it all for the Mavs in 2011, courtesy of the Miami Heat.
7 to shoot. Nowitzki drives, goes underneath, lefty layup, banks it in with 3 points.
From one golden-haired assassin to another, let us travel back in time and talk about a guy who won the MVP 3 times during the 80s. If Dirk was the OG of unicorns, then Larry Bird has to be the grandfather of unicorns. At 6'9", Bird was an efficient point forward who could set up his teammates and light up the scoreboard with his sweet shooting stroke and lethal marksmanship, just like our favorite guy right over here.
Yo, come on! Oh!
Donning his trademark stash and shaggy blonde hair, you could have easily thought that Bird was working as a car salesman or at a Walmart nearby, because he seems to look too nice and too decent for a sport as rough and tough as basketball.
Now
Now, your son gets me confused all the time. Can you explain to the audience, what is my name?
Larry Bird.
Okay, see, he gets it wrong all the time. I'm so much better looking than Larry Bird. I appreciate it, it's fine.
See, even kids of today have no idea what Larry Bird really looks like. Though he may look like your typical friendly neighbor that can do no harm, Bird compensates his lack of athletic ability by giving 110% every time he's on the floor. Despite his godlike Larry Legend persona, he's always the first one to dive for those loose balls and do the hustle plays, and never second guess to do the dirty work. And when I say dirty work, I mean real dirty work.
Oh, there is.
Yeah, and look at
Jay hitting Bird as he's...
A blue-collar badass in his own right, Bird brought 3 championships to Boston, and he got himself 3 MVP trophies as well during their reign in the 80s. This guy was such a badass that he beat all participants in the 1988 three-point contest without removing his warm-up jacket. Speaking of three-point contests, the next guy on this list is another certified lights-out shooter who has also won not 1, but 2 MVPs despite looking like an adult baby. You already know who I'm talking about. Steph Curry made it on the list of players who can't jump high enough nor run fast enough.
Steph Curry behind the back, drives down a lane and misses the...
But if you're as lethal as Steph from long range, you won't be needing any of that because he can kill you from 35 feet away from the basket.
We have 22 points in the paint here in the first quarter. Curry.
Just like MJ, LeBron, and Giannis, Curry is one of those transcendent players that broke the system by shooting 3 after 3 after 3. A glitch in the Matrix, you might say.
What is it?
A deja vu is usually a glitch in the Matrix. It happens when they change something.
Together with his splash brother, Curry unleashed fire and fury onto the rest of the league without flexing his muscles like LeBron or exhibiting his Michael Jordan hops like Westbrook. Instead, he did it by dropping swishes from an ultra-safe distance and away from the defense. He was already a dead-eye from range even before he got drafted thanks to his dad, and all he needed was the perfect system where he could showcase his long-range guns on the big stage, which he found in Golden State under Steve Kerr. 3 championships and back-to-back MVPs. Steph showed that you can be dominant despite looking like a man-child. Similar to the previous players on the list, the next dude is also not blessed with athletic gifts. In fact, he was once classified as both overweight and obese. As a result, he had to shred down some fat first before he got accepted into the NBA. Upon his arrival in the NBA, Nikola Jokic weighed 292 pounds and was clearly out of shape during his training camp with the Nuggets, who picked him 41st overall from the 2014 draft. According to Nuggets conditioning coaches, Jokic was soft at the time and unable to perform drills and core exercises properly. It was so bad that he couldn't even do planks longer than 20 seconds. This lackluster showing of Jokic can be attributed to his bizarre drinking habit. Before entering the big league, Jokic said that he used to consume 3 to 4 liters of Coca-Cola after their morning practices during his stint in Europe. To have an idea of how many that is, take a look at this. That's roughly around 12 to 16 full glasses of 100% pure sugar. Since he loved Coke so much, we should give him a new nickname. How about Coca-Cola Jokic? I know that joke was kind of lame, but Jokic's game, let's be honest, is far from lame. He's a 7-footer that loves to play jokes on his opponents with his no-look passes while draping his point guard mantle despite lumbering as slow as Chewbacca.
Well, you said it.
He also has a bag full of tricks up his sleeves, and although he's all smiles and laughs off the court, the Joker suddenly turns from an affable big man to a serious competitor when the opening buzzer sounds off. In just his 6th year in the NBA, Jokic has become a force that can't be stopped in the league. The reigning MVP almost averaged a triple-double last season with 26.4 points, 10.8 rebounds, and 8.3 assists. If this trend keeps going, I'm pretty sure that the Joker will get the last laugh, especially when he wins an NBA championship sooner or later. Anyway, enough of unathletic MVPs for the day. Have you ever wondered where the last 10 Rookie of the Year winners are today? If you're curious, then I've got the video for you right here. In this one, I go over the past 10 winners of this award and exactly what happened to them afterwards. It's a big video, guys, so make sure you're sitting in a comfortable chair, or couch, or anything you can sit in. Anyway, guys, click the video, watch it, enjoy it, and as always, I'll see you on the other side.